So there is my soakaway hole with the sand at 150 mil compacted, and the height's correct as already seen in the previous videos, to give us our 1 in 40 slope on the pipe leading into it. These are the bits. We've got an enormous sheet. We've got a bag it was in. It wasn't particularly folded in any way, which is why I've had to do that. Bit of a mess. We've got our crates. We've got our ties to tie the crates together, and also the long ones. There have got 24 of those and 3 long ones which go around the inlet pipe, which is a problem because we're going to have to dig that tunnel. Remember, that is in the wrong place. Got to re-dig that, but I want to fill in everything, otherwise all the mud's going to fall into the bottom. And again, the issue being slight lack of information on things getting it wrong. So what we've worked out is drawing the thing out very, very quickly. We can see how far it is to do a complete wrap that way, how far it is that way. That gives us all these calculations, and they check at the bottom, and you can see I've got to cut this 13-meter long sheet into 2 parts to do the wraps in 2 directions, as in that diagram there. I've gone through that really quickly, but if you're really interested, pause it and have a look. Kim, bit easier to measure when it's out flat. It's actually 15 meters, not 13 meters, and that means to our 2 halves we can add a meter to each. Basically it's 8, 6 and 6, 3 ish. Got that? You're watching the bird going into the nest. There he goes. Around the back of that branch. Are you going to see this? I think he's waiting for us to go away. So let's go away, Kim. Okay. So then where we have our long half and our small half, which doesn't make sense because the halves can't be different sizes, but you got the gist. There's our sand ready and our folded sheet. So let's take it over and start putting it in. So we placed in the long ways one. We've got more at one end, as you can see, so we get a good overhang vertically on the opposite end. Kim, that was more fiddly than we expected. Wow. But we preserved the 150 mil around the edge, so I'm very pleased with that. Anyway, we're there. So let's get the top layer on, and they're all held together by the ties that you can see in the picture there. Holds them tight. Kim at work, great job. And she's actually tied the top layer to the bottom layer, which was pretty impressive because I didn't think that was going to be that easy. So now the wrapping up part, of course the issue we have is that we've still got to dig that, and the reason we haven't dug it first is because we've got an event on in our house in a few days, and we've got children and some people are bringing dogs, and we can't have great big holes in the garden, so we just had to suffer that one. We have to cover it over with a tarpaulin as we dig, so that we catch all the spoil. But good job. You happy with that, Kim? Yeah. Videoing Kim wrapping it, but she's made the point that I would be more useful helping rather than videoing. And there we are, all done up. Nice gap around the edge. And how did you enjoy that, Kim?
Great fun.
Took a bit longer than we thought, but there it is. I say the complication is I've got to dig where that pipe's going, but I don't actually have the pipe either. So be more organised. The next job is to put the sand round, but just bearing in mind where that pipe's going to go so we keep it clear. And that will also get rid of the pile at the front of the house, making a parking space for the weekend. So I've been tipping some sand in. All this needs knocking down and then compacting in there, which I'll do with the compactor, but also I might cheat and use a little bit of water, which really does compact it down quickly.